Nate, thanks for joining me in the studio.
Thank you.
We've already been having some great conversations.
Yeah.
District Chief out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. You and I connected online. We were was putting some content out, and you had just reached out and said, hey, if you're ever looking for anybody. And a lot of times I don't accept solicitation for people to invite themselves to the show. And it's a lot of times is people have a personal agenda that pushes what they want. And I have a hard time with that, right? And for 7 years on this podcast, a lot of times it's been my invite for people to come and join me because I want to hear their stories. I'm intrigued by them. But I didn't know who you were. And I'm so glad that you popped up on my radar and you said, hey, I have an interesting story that might help people. And I was like, yeah, I hear that all the time. And then you and I started going back and forth a little bit. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Your message can resonate. And so first off, I want to thank you. You're all the way from Oklahoma. You're here working with the 343 Fund, and we're going to talk about that as well. But I want to kind of dive into your story a little bit because you have you've challenged yourself to educate. You've challenged yourself to be out in front, to be a champion for alternative medicine, as you call it, and healing, personal healing. And so I kind of want to just dive right in with your story and see where we can go with it, because I think your message will resonate. And with all the people that listen in the community we've built, I think the power of healing starts from within. And I think we have an obligation to educate one another about, how we can combat the struggles that we deal with in life. So welcome to the show. I'm not trying to get heavy right out of the gate, but talk to me. Give me a little rundown. District Chief in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, I followed your stuff from on social media, but when I looked you up, the first video I looked up before I reached out to you was a buddy of mine named Richie Stack that I taught. Sure. I taught at IFC with Structure Collapse Rescue Tech, and I'm like, oh, they interviewed Richie. He's a good dude, man. All right, cool. I'll reach out to him. So thanks a lot for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm a district chief in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have 3 shifts. I'm District 2 C platoon. It's the best job ever.
Yeah. I
don't think I'll ever leave.
The position of District Chief. I know the job's great.
District 2C.
2C.
Yeah, I think I got enough time now that if, they start trying to rotate me out somewhere else, I might just punch out, go be a farmer or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm good. I like my district. Those folks I get to work with are their family, and I'm honored to do it. So I started in 1999 on the fire department. Got, commissioned in 1998 in the Army. Anticipated going back to active duty, and it just didn't happen. I needed a job, and my dad was on the job,
right.
And so I applied and got hired in 99 eventually, and started.
Was the fire service just a fall into, like, I need a job and I'm going to go do this? I'm familiar with it. Dad does it. I'm going to do it.
That's what's weird is that, like, I always wanted to be an Army officer in the infantry. That's all I ever wanted to be. And my folks knew that, and they never thought I'd ever, show any interest in the fire service at all. But, God works in weird ways, and the universe put me there, and it's what I feel like I was designed to do. So this is what I'm supposed to do. I got to do the Army stuff too. I stayed in the National Guard and went to Afghanistan in 2003, and that's part of my story. And then, my last tour was in 2017.
Combat in 2003?
Yeah. So we did a whole year. That was back in the whole 12 months on ground days, and I just love the fire service. As far as Tulsa goes, I started off in the downtown district when I was a young firefighter. I think a lot of us started out there, and I think I promoted to lieutenant. We called them fire equipment operators back then, but promoted to lieutenant in 2005.
Right.
After I got back from Afghanistan, I'd missed the promotion exam, and I was like, this is stupid. I need to promote. This is crazy. But
how long were you away from the job?
About 18 months, really, because we got to train up and the whole time in country. But
right.
Promoted in 2005, kind of went to a different district just north of downtown, and stayed up there for a little bit. I was only a lieutenant or driver for 18 months, and then a captain's test popped up.
Right.
And took it and got lucky, promoted in 2007 to captain. So, that's what every kid wants to do in the Tulsa Fire Department. Nobody gets on not wanting to have that red helmet. And,
yeah,
it's
for sure.
Be the boss of an engine. Everybody wants to be an engine boss in Tulsa. It's it was, at least it did. That's what it was back then.
It's a good town to be a fireman in.
It's a great town to be a fireman
Yeah.
in. I love my city.
Yeah.
It's the greatest place. I don't know if I could ever do it anywhere else.
Yeah. You said what, over 30 companies, 750 about on the line?
We've got 31 stations, I think, technically, but I think that's 40 some odd companies, 45.
Okay.
Or 43. I'm trying to remember. Like, we've added ladder companies, and we just added a rescue company recently. So, or a full-time
city adding companies.
Over time. I mean,
Yeah.
This isn't a 26-year period.
I get it.
It's been rough times too. We did the whole squad program where 2 dudes in a pickup running around, picking people up, stuff. We had a whole decade of the squad debacles, but times was hard back in 08.
I get it. Economy crashed, right?
Yeah, about the time I made captain, about a year later, when we were literally handing out pink slips to firefighters and having them clean out lockers and telling them like 143 kids were getting ready to be laid off. And our union is really strong. We're local 176. Those low 3 number unions, I mean, that they've been around since 1919.
Yeah.
We've got a really strong local, and we took a pay cut in 08 to keep all those kids
on.
Yeah, but we ended up with a squad program, and it was what it was.
Sure.
The whole country went through this.
No doubt.
We're not unique.
It ebbs and flows, right? The ups and downs, the highs and lows, right?
Yeah. And as far as, my drinking career, I feel like it mirrored mostly. I mean, everybody drank when I came on, I probably started using alcohol as a tool in 04 when I came home.
I was going to ask you, yeah.
It was, I don't want to, be outlandish about post-traumatic stress. I definitely have had symptoms and have symptoms of that you figure out through life. But I was just using alcohol as a tool. Most days I was off, I was drinking.
To just disappear?
Yeah, just because, if you're not engaged, if you're not, catching the truck and being engaged and occupying your head and heart doing that, and you're off by yourself, it's not as much fun, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to occupy something else. And I remember my kid's mom, she told me when I got back, I'd been back a few months, and she's like, all you do on your days off is drink and fish. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly
what I look forward to it.
Yeah, this is great. It was so wrong, though.
Did you see it then as a tool, or did you see it just as, this is my hobby outside of the job, this is what I like to do, this is my downtime, this is how I relax?
This is my downtime, yeah. I started building the excuses then. This is how I do it,
Were you drinking in Afghanistan?
No.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if there was downtime there that brought on bad habits or.
We didn't have a lot of downtime in the infantry.
That's what I was curious about. Right. You were in infantry?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah. We were out every day. So, I mean, it was, there wasn't a whole lot of that downtime of, it was pretty hooked up.
Frontline active military. You're going out engaging.
Yeah. And lots of different missions all across the country of Afghanistan. 03 was kind of the wild, wild west of Afghanistan. We were running around in thin-skin Humvees and non-tactical Ford Rangers. It was
early days.
Yeah, we didn't have up-armored stuff back then at all.
Yeah. I wonder. You're in the fire service at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
You then get deployed, frontline active duty, and then we drop you back off in Tulsa and thank you for your overseas service. You're back to the firehouse, and we just expect you to, I don't know, merge back in with every day.
Yeah, I think that's the military, specifically the Army, has gotten a lot better at that.
Integrating back into everyday life.
Yeah, they've got a way more robust reacclimation process than they had in 2004. It was it wasn't non-existent. It was just, you know, by the time I came back home stateside, we demobilized back through Fort Carson, Colorado, and I remember thinking, I just want to get home. My oldest daughter was born about a week or two before we left.
Oh, wow.
And so I didn't even know how to be a dad yet.
Were you married?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so wanted to get home as soon as I could and did everything I could to do that. And
A
then
year and a half later.
Right. And then as soon as I got home, then that tug of being back on the truck, you know, I want to get back on the rig. I don't want to miss work. I've missed all these fires. Like, you know, I've
Missing
been gone.
fires, missing the camaraderie. Well, yeah, the camaraderie of like your soldiers and your unit, right? But
sure,
it's different.
It is different, and I know like people say the fire service is paramilitary, but there's no comparison. Like the fire service is the fire service, and the military is the military.
Right.
That's my opinion, anyway. No, I mean, I was drinking then, and I promoted again. So I promoted in 07 to captain. I was really young. I think I was 28 years old. You know, that's super young on our job. But I hit the marks. Just got lucky. You know, the universe wanted it then. I took the tests. You know, and then made captain. Did a couple years on our technical rescue team. It was okay. But I'd done a lot of my career so far in and around downtown and that technical rescue team environment, and I thought, man, I want to change. I really need to find something else. And
were you always looking for a challenge in the job? It sounds like you're always you're promoting or looking for more opportunity, right?
I think early in my career, I was overly focused on promoting, attaining that rank so that I could have influence. I think I have this theory on this, like all firefighters want to make impact.
Yeah.
That's what they really want.
Sure.
It ain't about the paycheck. We want to make impact either on the truck or in incidents. And
I believe in that.
And I felt like for the longest time that if I just got that next rank that I would have, I can make better impact. And but I really enjoyed being a captain. Yeah. Eventually moved to Engine 27. That was our busiest fire company in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, it is
good place to be.
Yeah, like 4,500 calls a year. You're getting your butt kicked most days. It's pretty normal to have 20 runs hung on you a shift. I loved it. It was an ALS company, and I'm a BLS guy, so I had these medics that would do all the reports. So it's kind of great.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys are doing real good work over there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll do all the fires.
Sure.
But it's a socioeconomically depressed area. And I learned more about that later on, about how that works in the fire service and how fires follow those trends.
Sure.
And so I did that for, I don't know, till 2014, and I made chief. I took a practice chief's exam, thinking that I remember fishing with my dad, and he said, "What do you want to retire?" And I thought, I don't know, do 25 and punch out and do something else. He's like, well, you better get busy making chief, bud. And I thought, crap, he's right. So I should have never done it. But so I took a chief's exam and made it, and on my first go, and then that's when your ego really starts that's when your ego starts taking off.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I'm a wonder kid. Like I'm freaking, I can do anything. I could be the fire chief.
You get in your own head.
Oh yeah, and that's what I started from there. I did, when we make chief officer in Tulsa, there's all these jobs that are out there. There's 15 district chief jobs because there's 5 districts, and then there's these staff jobs. And so I went to a district for a minute, and they said, hey, you can volunteer to be the chief of training, or you're going to be the chief of training. I thought, I guess I'll be the chief of training.
Let me volunteer for that position.
I'd never come off the line at all, but it was a great opportunity.
See the other side of it.
Yeah, I started to see the other side of it, and it was unique. And I had a good bunch of guys that were the training staff. We've got 7 full-time training officers. That's all they do. We occupied a new training facility while we were doing that. So it's a 43-acre training facility. So it was a great opportunity for me to use some of my military-minded, logistics-oriented stuff. Hey, this is what we're going to do here. This is a new facility. Here's the new rules kind of stuff.
You embraced that new challenge?
I did, and but I turned that card in. I used that attaboy card for the district I wanted.
Right.
And went to the district on the northwest side of Tulsa, and loved it too. I did it for a couple of years. Then I deployed. My last deployment was to Ukraine, 2017 and 18. So, and then
that was ahead of.
Oh yeah,
everything that happened.
Yeah,
we were ahead.
We were training the Ukrainian army, infantry stuff, and.
Did you want to deploy again, or were you?
Oh yeah,
you did.
Yeah, because my plan was to be I was hoping to be a battalion commander before I retired in the army, and a chief officer. Like I was, building this giant resume in the back of my head. And I'm like building this giant resume that people couldn't not choose me to be, a fire chief. And,
sure.
That sounds silly coming out of my head now because it's the absolute opposite of what I want, but. That's what my life was, and I came home in 2018, and then that next year.
If you don't mind, I'm curious, right? Because you came home from your first deployment from Afghanistan, drinking, fishing on your days off. Alcohol certainly was starting to get in the way of everyday things.
Sure.
But you still maintained your professional balance and was able to promote, build your companies, and do well. I would think in the fire service, right? So it's finding that balance between making an impact every day, but then at home, things are a little bit different. Things are off.
That's not balance at all. And what I know now is I was a functional alcoholic for many years. And we'll get to some of that.
Because that's
nobody ever tells us when you come through the academy and they're like, hey, at the end of this academy, we're going to have this big party. We're all going to go drink at this bar and everybody's going to have a good time. You're like, this is great.
Alcohol's involved in everything we do.
This is what we do. And nobody ever tells you, like, you know what? If you're measuring your weekends by 30 packs, that's a problem, buddy. That's an actual problem. That's called binge drinking. And that's a key indicator to your future if you're not careful. And I hope, if anything comes out of this, that people see me as like, that guy seems normal and got real fucked up. Like it was bad.
Yeah. So when you left for then your Ukrainian, how long were you gone for on that deployment?
I think we were gone like a total of 7 or 8 months or something like that.
Were you sober for those months?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
We were in Ukraine. And
so not Afghanistan, Ukraine.
Yeah.
Different setup.
Yeah, it was they drink vodka for breakfast.
Was it fuel on the fire?
Oh, some. And my first marriage was struggling.
Sure.
We didn't hate each other, but we were just distancing, you could tell. And I knew I wanted to get this last deployment in, okay, this is a cool one. I want to get on this deployment, do that, come home. And when I did come home, that distance didn't seem to close, It just didn't, it wasn't like the other time where you came home and everybody runs to you. And the kids were great.
I get it.
My kids,
sure. They missed their dad.
Yeah, they missed their dad.
Sure.
And I've got a great relationship with my kids.
How many do you have?
Three. I've got a 22, an 18-year-old, and an almost 17-year-old. And the 18-year-old is our next little venture in the fire service. He's already a volunteer firefighter, so.
It's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's, but I was really leaning on alcohol then, for sure.
For what? Coping?
Yep. Just I tell
boredom.
I tell everybody. I woke up. I walked around with an anxiety level of 10, all the time. And
from anxiety of what? Being in your own head?
Either being in my own head or being super hyper vigilant all the time, and worrying about the future. Not being present, staying in the moment right now, and doing the best you can right now. Worrying more about what's my next step. Because when I came home from Ukraine, it was, you could see the end of that particular fire chief's career, and this ties into the next staff job I did, because I talked to him and he offered me the chief of staff position, or the chief of admin back then is what it was called,
right.
And it is a chief of staff. It is a chief of staff position, and it was extremely intensive, because you go from being a line guy in just a normal district to having the responsibility of the budget, of a $90 million budget, to learning a new language of how to do budgeting, to intergovernmental relations and meeting all these other city people and understanding the nodal analysis that comes with that, and basically learning how to be a fire chief in the future. And all the while, I was holding my stuff together there really good for a couple of years in that job. And in the background, my life was unraveling.
Did the guys you worked with day in and day out knew your struggles at home?
There is no guys in that job. There's the fire chief. That is it. And it's the one job in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is weird because the collective bargaining agency doesn't represent two people or two positions in every fire department. It's the fire chief and one other spot. And I was in that spot. I was in that other spot. So, and
you're on an island.
Yeah, you didn't have a crew for sure. You don't have, and the fire chief was great. He was supportive of me, even through all my troubles. But, my wife and I started to separate even more. She kind of made it known that she wasn't in love with me. And I was I had like a 6-week training thing for the Army. We were going to go to northern Michigan for 3 weeks and then another 3 weeks in like Fort Riley, Kansas. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be gone for the next 6 weeks, but we'll talk about all this stuff when I get back. And came back. A friend of mine had become a fire chief in Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. And all that time I graduated from the Executive Fire Officer Program.
National Fire Academy?
Yeah, from the National Fire Academy. And
so something else.
Yeah, I did all that. That was fun.
So, I mean, you really are a functional
alcoholic. I was super a functional alcoholic, but until I wasn't.
Were you looking for those moments of downtime to be able to disappear?
Absolutely.
So it was like, I can't wait to get out of here today.
Oh, yeah. Or my center of gravity was alcohol. Every single moment. I could plan entire vacations around alcohol. Like, I get to go here and drink and be free from all judgment and just drink until I fall asleep. And like I said, I was at that anxiety level of a 10 all the time, and I drank to get to an 8 where I could be normal, and I could feel just normal. And then I would try to maintain that throughout the days,
Did you care? Was it about you or was it about everyone around you? Meaning like the anxiety, the stress, the day in and day out of being in your own mind and the anxiety around that. Was it because for so many chapters of your career, it was, yourself, then it was your crew, then it was your battalion, then it was your department? Like, it seems like there's this increasing level of responsibility as you go in life. And was that some of it, that like, I have to be sure that I'm good for them? It's all about them. It's my guys, my people, my this. Or was it more about your own needs?
I think for me, the fire department's like breathing.
It's like what?
It's like breathing.
Breathing.
It's just automatic,
I get that.
Like, I'm going to take care of the people that I'm charged to take care of. That's breathing. But when you have... that's making this large assumption that everything else in your life is working.
Right.
And when that doesn't work, and when the kid's mom and I split up, and that everything that I thought was true was not true anymore, it really shook me to my core.
Did you recognize that you were at the center of this failed marriage?
Oh, no. I just recognized then at that time, all I thought was, I can try my way in. I can fix this. I can just keep trying. I can get better. Everything. I can fix everything.
Without having that hard conversation with yourself about what was truly in the way.
Right. I had no visibility of that.
Yep.
Like, at all. Like, there's nothing I do wrong. I'm just, look how much I work. Look how much I try. Look what I've done for the city, or look what I've done for the country. Look what I've done for the kids. That's not enough. I mean, it was, for me, the biggest stressor was the personal side of life. Anyway, and then in 2019, in August of 2019, I got a DUI in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I was in that chief of staff position, and I came back and told my fire chief that next day. I said, this is what happened. He said, okay. And I got a written reprimand, kind of normal levying of the stuff.
Sure.
And then we just rocked along. He said, hey, are you good? I mean, you think you're good? And I said, oh, yeah, I'm good.
Did you let him in a little bit to understand that it was more than just a chance DWI? Hey, I had one too many at the bar, and they grabbed me.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I told him it was.
Right, that's the story.
He didn't know that the background and the level at which I was drinking. You know, it wasn't at work, but I was every day. Every time I was off, I would be, you know. And, again, looking back, those are key indicators of alcoholism. Anytime that alcohol is your center of gravity, that's a big, huge key indicator. So, but then I didn't stop. You know, I didn't deter you. I didn't go to EAP.
Didn't slow you down.
I didn't. No, I was like, man,
got away with that one.
I got lucky on this one.
Yeah.
Maybe I can still be the fire chief, which was completely insane. And then in Veterans Day of 2019, it came crashing down. I'd split up from my wife. I was living in a condo, like an Airbnb. I went to the Veterans Day parade, started early at 9 a.m., marched with all my fellow veterans, got back to the VFW. You know, Veterans Day is a big deal in Tulsa. We've got a great post. I haven't been back since this last Veterans Day. I haven't been back to that post since then. But I just don't remember how I got home. And I hit a car. I woke up the next morning to every cop I know in Tulsa on my phone and the fire chief. And subsequently was demoted 2 ranks to back to lieutenant. And it was just like, again, more of my life upside down. And our demotions, the way they work in Tulsa, they're not permanent. At least they weren't for me. So I'd be supposed to go back to lieutenant for a year, and then I'd go to the top of the list, and then I'd do a year as a captain and go to the top of the list, and then I'd
get your way back,
get my way back to being a district chief, which I was committed to. But at that time, that shook me so much that I was, you know, I had suicidal ideations. I didn't know if I wanted to continue living. I really didn't. And even then, that wasn't rock bottom, like, at all. Like, it just kept getting worse.
Had you seek treatment at all?
Not at all
any
yet.
of this?
No.
So not even like, maybe I should go to AA. Maybe I should stop, you know, like things like that.
Part of my discipline when that demotion was you're going to go to EAP.
Right, okay.
You know, and, you know, the EAP's a thing that most cities use. I don't, you know, it's not super highly effective.
No.
But that's when I did go to AA for the first time, was in 2019. That November in 2019, I went to my first AA meeting. And I honestly, I joke about this with my AA friends now, because I thought they had a pre-meeting about what to talk about when Nate gets here. Like, obviously they don't do that. That's your ego talking. But like, I thought when they were talking, I was like, hey,
come on, guys,
come
let
on.
me in.
Yeah, like, I mean,
yeah,
you guys like have a pre-meeting talking about how drunk you are, because that's me. Now I know that. But and you know, and that really started my sobriety journey.
Did you put value into that meeting?
Oh yeah, I stayed sober for
you did?
Good solid 6 months.
Okay,
you know, I mean, it was.
How hard was that for you?
I was completely white knuckled. It was the most difficult thing you've ever done. There is a huge difference between not drinking and sobriety. I promise you, that is something I've learned. But you know, that really started this. And COVID happened in the middle of that. I got put back on orders for the Army. I went and worked for the governor in Oklahoma for about a year and a half. I was on orders. I came back from that, you know, still not right mentally at all. You know, lots of resentment towards, you know, my ex-wife and towards the job.
Everybody else's fault.
How could they do this to me? Look, didn't they see what I was?
I'm a golden child.
I was this rising star.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a normal guy. And so, and I, when I came back off orders, I was a captain again, and you know, the joke I made all the time, but hey, tricks on them. I love riding a fire truck. This is awesome.
Justifying it in your own mind.
And it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was awesome. But it's still, that's not what I'm put here to do. You know, that's not what I'm here for. And I tell everybody getting demoted was super hard, but when I got re-promoted, it was really hard. And here's why. Because in my mind, I wanted everybody to say, all right, you're back. Let's start asking Nate for what he thinks and advice. And in reality, the job held me at arm's length. Still.
Yep.
They were like, yeah, we're promoting you back, but we don't trust you as far as we can throw you. And they were right to.
But you didn't sense that at the time?
Oh,
or
no.
You did?
I sensed it completely, and it really messed me up. It really messed me up.
You were expecting a ticker tape parade. Look at him on the climb back. He's here. Let's go.
And I don't, that's so silly, but yeah, it is completely, like, well, surely they'll start asking me, like, hey, because, Nate's been through this, or he's done some of this work before. They'll ask him what he thinks, and they didn't. And as a matter of fact, they just wanted me to just exist for a minute.
Take up space.
That took me a while to figure out. And that's when I went to my district. But I had an epiphany one day, and, one of my close friends is the deputy of ops. And I went to him and said, hey, man, I'm struggling. I really am. I'm really hurting. Like, I can't stop this. I don't know what's going on. And he just said, okay. And got me in touch with our union president. And I went to the IAFF Center of Excellence in Maryland, And
was this the first time you admitted to yourself
or
to somebody else?
That's for sure.
I need help.
Yeah, for sure to that friend of mine that's the deputy.
Leading up to that, were you still having suicidal ideations?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you recognized, like, I think this is like a new chapter. I got to either do something or I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it takes what it takes, Jeremy. It just does. We get so frustrated with our, brothers and sisters that struggle with this stuff, but in reality, it takes what it takes. It just does. Everybody's rock bottom is different.
Yeah.
I thought going and asking for help was rock bottom. That still wasn't rock bottom. I wasn't done yet. So, because I go and do 34 days at the Center of Excellence, came home healed, And
how was that program?
It was great. They really, honestly, it's top notch.
Did it open up a lot of things for you to recognize, like, oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I kind of think part of me thinks it should be required now. Like, we need to do a way better job in this fire service of talking about feelings and talking about things that are bothering us. And it's not, it's not a specific rehab for drug and alcohol problems. Right. That's not it. There's a lot of folks there with PTS. There's a lot of folks there with other kind of trauma associated that just goes with this job. It just goes with this job. And then, but yeah, I got a significant amount of tools from the Center of Excellence, but came home, relapsed in like 2 weeks.
Was it just being back in the same environment, same situations?
It's the same thing, man. Your ego tells you, man, I'm really doing good. I think I beat this. I think that I'm healthy enough to have a beer with my friends.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that sounds so crazy now, but so I would go, weeks and months and not drink, and then I'm good. I think let's go.
I can have one.
Yeah, I'll have a beer, and then the next thing you know, 2 weeks later, you're taking time off to drink. You're like, I'm not coming in today because I'm just gonna sit out here and drink. And I was alone when I drank most of the time. I kind of learned my lesson. I'm not going to go to the bars or be out in public. And that's that shame in you. You don't want people to see that you're drinking because they're going to look at you like, hey,
especially we know Nate's past, right?
Yeah, why are you drinking, Nate?
Right.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Because it is dumb. But it didn't matter. And that's where I really believe that addiction is a disease. Like, it's not something that people just say, why don't you just quit drinking? Like, I don't know. Why don't you quit breathing then?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I just can't. It's the only thing that makes me feel normal. But I'm really smart. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but so I figured out a way to chemically detox myself. And I was going to the VA, and they would give me Ativan.
Was there testing? Were there?
No, not for Ativan.
Okay.
No.
I mean for alcohol on the job. Were they?
If you get hit for a random, every once in a while they'll have you blow. Right. We have a city physician in Tulsa, so there's a place we call City Medical. You go down there, it's and you get random tested. that's one of the programs I was in charge of when I was the chief of staff. So it's
Wow.
like, it's you know, and I wasn't trying to beat anything. I just was, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if I drink for a couple weeks, I can, instead of having withdrawals, because by then I was starting to have withdrawals when I didn't drink, I'll take Ativan, just like they prescribed me at the Center of Excellence. And I'll meter that out, because you can get addicted to benzodiazepines too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody that's worked the streets ever knows. I'll just do 1 milligram twice daily for 3 days, and then do 1 milligram for once daily for 3 days, and then I'll come off, and I'll titrate off this medication, and you're good, right? And did that for a little bit until this VA doc turned to, he was like, look, I know what you're doing. And I'm like, okay, what do you think I'm doing? He's like, you're chemically detoxing yourself. And he turned his monitor around from his desk, and he showed me the number of times I'd gotten 14-day prescriptions of Ativan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit, you guys are keeping track of that. Okay. So then that wasn't rock bottom either, because then I figured out I could go to Mexico and just buy them at a pharmacy in Mexico. And so I did that 3 different times.
I mean, you think about that. You get to a place where you have to travel to another country to get drugs to cover up for.
Yeah. It's just South Texas, if you think about it that way.
Right.
You
South
know?
Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's super. It's like a 3-hour flight.
Yeah, I'm in Oklahoma. It's no big deal.
It's basically Texas. No.
Just jump over the border and come back.
And you could, man. I went down to they got HEBs, which is a big grocery chain in Mexico and Texas too. So you could go to their pharmacy. There's a doctor there. He'd ask you what you're doing. I was honest with him. Hey, man, I have withdrawals. I need this for withdrawals. Okay. And I'd get 80 pills and come back to Tulsa.
Did you recognize early on the withdrawal symptoms? Like if you took a couple days off where you're like, man, I'm not feeling right. Like I know dealing with alcoholism in my life, right? Not me, or there's people in my life that have dealt with it. And the struggle of recognizing, holy crap, I have withdrawal.
Yeah.
Like I didn't drink for 2 days and I'm having a problem. And I go, that's the withdrawal. That's your body fighting back for the lack of alcohol. Did you recognize that early on?
I did. I just ignored it.
Yeah.
Because we're better than that, right? You know, and things a little bit of ego on the fire service is great.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
we need ego on the fire ground, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need docile men and women.
That's right.
Doing this job.
That's correct.
That is not the kind of chief officer I am. You should probably ask my folks. I'm not a sit in the car guy.
Right.
But ego is also a huge enemy in our lives. And I didn't know how to. At the time, I was in AA, going to talk therapy. I'd have those months of sobriety feeling good about myself, knowing that I felt way better not drinking. You know, it doesn't take that long to detox off of it.
Yeah.
Once you stop drinking, you're like, man, I feel so much better.
Yep.
And I'd still do it.
Yeah.
My ego would still tell me, you can have a beer. You're going to be okay. You'll just have 2, and then you won't drink for a week. And that doesn't count against sobriety. You're really good. And that's the kind of insane thoughts that people have that are battling addiction. And so I'm so much more empathetic now for people that are battling this. You know, 15 years ago, Nate would have said, you're a dirtbag.
I get
You need to get your shit together. That's all there is to it. You're a dirtbag. Get your stuff together.
Clean it up.
This is the job.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Different Nate now.
Yeah.
But so I was, kept going down this path. Well, I met a guy at the Center of Excellence in rehab. He's a firefighter in Texas. And we became fast friends, right? And we had similar stories. And I'd be on a bender and he'd call me. Like, he'd just know to call me. And he'd say, how you doing? And I'd say, I'm not doing great. I'm off the wagon again. He's like, all right, let's get back on together. Okay.
Did you ever have somebody like this in your life before?
Never.
Not from your ex-wife, not from a friend, nobody, right?
No. Yeah, and, that's one of the crazy things about promoting like that. You end up
alone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that way now. I have way more people that I can reach out and touch, but that's a purposeful effort. But
I think probably making that relationship, you were both on the same level. You're both at the same facility, dealing with the same things potentially. And so there's that recognition, right? I'm you, you're me.
So much similarities in our stories that we became very close friends.
Yeah.
And his name's Wade, and Wade found out about this ibogaine treatment and called me and said, "Hey, I'm signed up to do this thing." And I'm like, "Whatever, magic. That's okay, cool. I'm doing good now."
You were drinking at this point?
No, I was not.
Okay.
This was one of those rare, 2-week times. I'm like, I'm really kind of think I got a handle on it this time,
Yeah.
So how fast that changes, Wade goes and does the treatment through the Casey Scuden 343 Fund and goes to Ambio Life Sciences and comes back and calls me and says, asks me, he's like, "How you doing, man?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm out at the farm," because I got a little farm south of Tulsa and I mess around with, and I'm like, "I'm all right." He's like, "You're drinking, aren't you?" I said, Yeah, I'm on the tractor. It's hot, whatever. And he's like, "Look, I went to this thing. It's life-changing." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, whatever." And he's like, "You need to fill out an application." I was like, "Oh, I'll look at it when I get back home." He's like, "No, fill it out now." And on the tractor, he made me fill out the application.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I was like, "Okay, I did. I hit submit." He's like, "All right, I'll call you when I know more." And I think I had to work the next shift, and I wasn't boozing hard or anything, but or the next day I had to go into shift, and I went into shift, and this lady, Angela Scuden, called me, and she's like, "So you're from Bixby, huh?" And that's a small suburb of Tulsa. And I said, "Yeah." She said she was from there too, and she asked me about my story and if I was, serious about getting sober, and I said, "Yeah, I really am." And
were you?
Yeah, I really was. I mean, I was still in AA at the time. It's what you learn about sobriety is that it's not a super linear journey. Where you really want to stop, you just can't until you've hit something. And like I said, that constant thought of, man, you'll be healthy enough to have a drink, kept creeping up. And this was in September of last year, and I'd done really well. Like I really had, and my wife at the time was supportive of me stopping, and I was, I wanted to stop. So I scheduled to go to this treatment, and I cannot overemphasize how it changed my life. Like it's not as, we talked a little bit about, well, I'll just back up. So I go to, the way it works is you go to San Diego, and you find your own flight to San Diego. You stay in a hotel. The next morning you get up, they come pick you up in a van, and they take you to this place, Ambio Life Sciences, in Tijuana, Mexico, which is a 30-minute drive. It's not that far. And it's very reputable. There's lots of medical in processing. They require an EKG and blood work before you go. And then when you get there, they do an EKG and do more blood work and a urinalysis to make sure you're clean from all substances. And ibogaine is it's a plant-based medicine from the iboga root. It centers in West Africa. It is. I never knew anything about it.
Right.
And before I went, doing all the research, you start watching podcasts, right? You start Googling stuff, dangerous Googling. Found Sean Ryan podcast, watched it, and I was like, wow, that really helped him. And talked to my buddy Wade, and Wade was like, "Yeah, man, I still feel the same. But here's how it's going to work." And with what's great about the Casey Scuden 343 Fund, and that fund is specifically designed for first responders, so firefighters and police officers and paramedics that they just do grants for integration, pre and post integration for this ibogaine treatment, and they've helped literally hundreds of people in the United States. I'm just one of them. But ibogaine is, the whole. It's a 5-day process. Get down there, and the first day is a sweat lodge. I thought it was hilarious because there was all these cops in this hot room. They were very uncomfortable. I'm like, welcome to the party, guys. How's it going?
Yeah, right.
And it's an itty bitty little sweat lodge thing too.
Right.
And there was another firefighter in there from like the Seattle area. He's an itty bitty guy. He's short, and he's like, "How's it up there, Stretch?" And I'm like, "It's hot. It's hot, but it's not unbearable. Like, we're gonna be all right." Kind of wish I had a hood on, but okay. Sure. Felt like you just forgot your hood. That fire. Kind of hot.
Yep.
But we were in it for an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
And it's a long time. You go through some actual detoxification in there, and it's very ceremonial. And then the next 2 days are ibogaine days. Ibogaine's
the hot was to sweat everything out. toxins out of you.
Yeah, it's a detox.
Is it also designed to be a little uncomfortable so that
the folks at Ambia will tell you this is the first step of getting you comfortable with being uncomfortable.
yes,
You know, if you get in there with 6 other big men, at first you're like, I don't want to touch that dude's feet. By the time we're done, like, you're just wearing him. You know, you're sopping up water off the floor, trying to, you know, get some kind of cool. But it was an experience. You know, and Ibogaine the next 2 days is, you know, Ibogaine is a psychoactive medicine. It's got psychedelic properties. You're going to have, you know, a lot of people have visions, but not everybody has visions. But it is the best way I can describe it. It works on your neural pathways to clean what your past maladaptive behaviors were. And I equate it to like a dirt road. We got a lot of those in Oklahoma, right? And you build up ruts in those dirt roads. That's the way you normally go, and they're the exact width of your tires, and it's where your car's going to go most of the time. It's like someone completely cleaned my roads. And so it's like I said, it's a 2-day process.
you obviously did homework going into it, right? Like you said, so you kind of knew what to anticipate. And so I have to think for you, were you prepared for this, or did it still kind of overwhelm you?
Yeah, 343 gives us a coach before we go. And so they do. Her name's Heather. She did a great job of being my coach. And recently I saw her in San Diego, and she told me how much of a jerk I looked like when we met in person. Like, she said, you were just very apprehensive. You could just tell you didn't want to. And I was apprehensive. I'm not somebody that goes around doing psychedelics.
Right.
My drug of choice was alcohol, you know. That was it. You know, we get tested for that stuff. I can't do that stuff. That makes you a dirtbag. If you smoke weed, you're a dirtbag. In our job, you know, that's not, you know, but nobody cares if you go pound out a half a bottle of Jameson.
Right. You're right.
You know?
The stigma, sure.
Yeah. As long as you get an Uber home, you're good.
That's right.
That's not accurate. So it's, the process is what it was. I mean, after Ibogaine, the day after you do your Ibogaine is called the gray day. And I was just in bed for 24 hours. It was the most exhausted I've ever felt. Just drained, just completely drained. And it was miserable for a minute. I was like, oh gosh, I hope this goes away, because it's not hungover. It's just physically, emotionally, and spiritually drained that next day. And then the 4th day, they administer 5-MeO-DMT, which comes from the Sonoran desert toad. That's a medicine you smoke, and it's completely different. It has a different role in that process. It's more of an ego death with 5-MeO-DMT, and I've only done it that one time, but the way I explain it is I was strapped to a rocket flying through the universe, and then the universe folded in on itself and opened up into a different universe. And then they coach you and they tell you just got to let go. And I felt like I couldn't let go enough. And eventually I just let out this guttural scream and broke through into this white expanse. And the only thing I could see was the love my kids have for me and that I have for them, and how real that was, and how true that pure, unconditional love is. And just felt the most peace.
Wow.
And I heard a voice say, all is forgiven. Everything that ever has been and everything that ever will be is already forgiven. Why are you worried? And I looked down at my legs in this spirit world that I was in, and I saw 100 pounds of guilt and shame melt off of me. And I thought, wow, that is beautiful. And they tell you, hey, you're going to know if you want another hit. And I started thinking to myself in my head, like, man, do I want another hit? And then the voice said, the medicine is within you. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just call it good. And I came out, and the first guy I saw was a guy named Trevor Miller, who is a founder of Ambio. And I said, man, everything's forgiven. He's like, yeah, buddy, you got there. and you're on the Pacific Ocean, and you sit down on this plush green lawn, and you just sit there and contemplate life for a second. But what I came away with was everything in the universe is connected to everything else, and everything's already forgiven. It's all done. And all this shame and guilt you're carrying is unnecessary. That the whole earth has a frequency, and we just need to be in tune with it. Everything's about love. There's no other true thing other than love. And so, the next day they take you back to San Diego, and you're like, wow, that's it? That's it? We're done? And I wanted an extra day in between because I didn't want to, freak out on a flight. You ever see those stories of people tripping, on a flight? I'm like, I don't want to do that. Can't afford to get arrested again. That'll be the end of my career. So I spent a day walking around San Diego, and I went to this, aircraft carrier museum, the USS Midway, and read every plaque and was just in this glow. And I remember calling my buddy Wade and telling him, thank you, man.
Wow. Thank you.
This is, but what was interesting is I didn't want to drink. I didn't have any desire to drink. And I was like, that's weird. Usually if I'd had a whole day in the park walking around San Diego, I'd have hit a bar or two by now.
Sure.
Sure. Oh, it's 12, That's full on 3 o'clock in East Coast, I'm good. I'd had zero desire to do that. And I was like, that's weird. And that's what it's like today. I mean, a year and a month later. It's, now, I tell everybody that asks me about this, this isn't a magic pill. This isn't a silver bullet you take and you're done. What I was committed to was the pre-integration coaching and the post-integration stuff. I still go to AA about once a week. I've been given this gift of relief of that ego that used to tell me, hey, you're healthy enough. Now that ego's dead, and your subconscious says, hey, you're an alcoholic. You never had one of anything. You never drank. What makes you think you could do that? And it's just a reality check. It's like a gift that they give you. And now that I'm more involved in the cause here, you find what these scientists are saying is that ibogaine is a pattern interrupter for addiction. And it's not just for alcohol. It's for opiates. It's for cocaine. It's for methamphetamine. It's for all kinds of patterns that are maladaptive in our lives that you just need to interrupt. Because you just need that one chance to just take a breath and build new ruts that are healthy. And, I'm not an Adonis or anything, but my new ruts was, hey, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to work out. I'm going to learn how to turn into these emotions and instead of drowning them, We talked a little bit about my anxiety level before. I walked around at a 10 all the time. I think I walk around at like a 7.
Really?
I mean, I just do. I came back, went back to work, ladder captain where I'm housed, walked in the office and said, you look 10 years younger. Boss, you look 10 years younger. What did you do? And I was like, well, Michael, I did psychedelics in Mexico. And he blew his mind, and he's like, whoa, what? You did what?
Yeah.
And you do come back on fire. You have this glow. And I told Angela Scuden really early on, I thanked her as well and said, hey, whatever this is, I want to help, And she made me take some time to settle into that. And I stayed sober. And life kept happening, Went through another divorce. Didn't take,
Yep.
Stayed sober, without very much effort at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't white knuckling at this time. It wasn't convincing myself to not go to a bar. It was more of hey, let's get quiet and turn into this and figure out what's going on.
I feel like that experience for you, the ibogaine treatment, and everything that you went through, that entire process, right over those days, it sounds like it reset all of those deep down embedded thoughts that you had about what you needed or why you existed. It just, it seems like a reset to me.
Yeah.
Right? Where you have time to, and you just said something before too, that like you realized you had time to kind of focus on yourself and to kind of find that reset and find purpose and fulfillment. Like, I think those are words that get lost, and I don't think we talk about them enough, about the importance of self-fulfillment, finding purpose in life, right? And I think that you need to have that in order to know where you want to be. And I think people get lost. And I think people can, you know, something like this is offering an opportunity to kind of refocus. Does that make sense?
Absolutely it does. You know, there's still regret for how I was. That doesn't go away. Like, regret doesn't go away, but like at the same time, you laugh at yourself. You're like, why would you have done that? Like, that is so crazy. Like, you don't want that. Right. Like, what are you happy doing? Professionally, I'm happy being the District 2 chief on Sea Platoon. Like, that's it.
Right.
Like, I'm super stoked about that. I get excited to go to work still.
Oh, you were excited today when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
You could see you ramp up over it,
I love the people I work with.
Right.
I mean, they are great.
Right.
I love that we do a great job. The proof's in the pudding. It just is what it is, you know? We don't burn the lid off things. We do a good job.
Did this working with the 343 fund and the abilities that they were able to extend to you, your friend Wade, when you look at all that, it seems like these are things that were completely out of your everyday comfort zone.
100%.
Right? I mean,
yeah, I would not have admitted to anyone that I went to AA and had any of these issues.
And here you are a year and 2 months later.
Yeah.
You're on a podcast talking about it. You've talked about it before. You work with the 343 Fund as an ambassador, right? To spread the word of what that fund is doing for first responders. So you have truly embraced this. It has really made a life-changing impact on you.
It's more than that too, man. We get back to the job, and you're like, everybody sees you being better, right? And that's the best example you could be. Is just see you being better. And you just keep being better. That's it, right? And that takes time. You know, people they don't believe it at first, but then they're like, holy shit. You know,
he's a different guy.
Nate's doing better.
Yeah.
That's old Nate.
Do they cheer for you?
Oh, yeah. I'm 100% believe in it. I really do. Even my bosses, you know, like, again.
Do you talk about this at the job?
You know,
because
I do.
It's not sanctioned.
It's not sanctioned. This is not, and definitely not speaking for the Tulsa Fire Department at all.
Sure.
Like, it is, you know, I went back to the local pretty quick and said, hey, guys, listen.
There's something here.
This is going to save lives. And
what was the reception?
They believe me.
Really?
And they put their money where their mouth is.
No kidding.
Because we got a pretty large benevolence fund, and we're getting people help.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. Our local is we had a fundraiser in Austin a month or two ago, and my local sent 2 people down there to the fundraiser.
Wow. Have you found people reaching out to you?
Man, so in the last month, myself and Angela, who you'll talk to later, we both became ambassadors for Americans for Ibogaine.
Right.
That's more of a policy and legislative advocacy group.
Yes.
Last year, Texas State House and Senate passed and was signed into law Stage 1 clinical trials in Texas for Ibogaine.
Yep.
We are efforting to do that in all states. Here in the great state of Oklahoma, well, actually we're in New Jersey right now, but in the great state of Oklahoma,
right.
We're doing the exact same thing. I'm pretty regularly meeting with and communicating with legislators, trying to use some of my powers for good. And honestly, this story of mine is compelling enough. You know, you see, there's, you know, Ibogaine's in the news. It's been in the news. There's a Netflix documentary called In Waves and War that just recently came out about some Navy SEALs that went through the exact same treatment that I went through at the exact same house. And when people ask me about it, I point them towards that documentary. And I said, watch that documentary and call me back. Tell me what you think. Because, you know, special operators, we're coming out of this 25-year period where we had the global war on terrorism, and those were heroes, right? Those are our heroes. You can tell by the number of podcasts that exist that people just want to hear their stories. You know, they're compelling stories. but they're also humans, right? And then I'm at an event, a week or two ago in San Diego, and one of these heroes, DJ Shipley from that movie, says, "Hey, look, these guys that are first responders are going out and seeing this every day, and then go home, and then come back out and see it again, and then go home. Like, we'd go out for 3 months at a time, and have a decompressing time, and we'd figure out ways to process this. We got to find ways to get them help too. So
yeah, there's a lot there.
It's so being an ambassador and kind of advisor for the 343 Fund is important to me, because that's who brought me to the table. I'll never not do that, ever. Being an ambassador for the Americans for Ibogaine, that's a different skill set of mine that it leans on, kind of more in line with what my master's is in, with public administration. So I get to use some of that knowledge I went and gained trying to be a fire chief, which is...
But it makes sense, because every step of your journey, even with setbacks, was always going to the next level, and it was taking care of your company, then your battalion, then the department, and now you're taking care of first responders that are looking for, treatment or help, right? And you're doing it on a larger level. Like, it just makes sense, Nate.
What's important about this, Jeremy, is this. One, I'm not special at all. I'm not unique. I just happen to have 26 years on, and I'm a chief officer. That's it. That is not special or unique. There's tons of people just like me that are struggling. Same rank, same number of bugles, same job description. There's people out there struggling.
How do we reach them?
We recover loudly. We talk about it. We don't sit here at the kitchen table. There used to be a rule at the kitchen table, at least in the Tulsa Fire Department. We don't talk about politics and religion. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and that never actually worked.
No.
Especially,
no, we go deep.
Election time frame, we go straight to politics. But the reality of it is, I need you to see my soft underbelly. I need to be able to be vulnerable around you. Like, you can walk in a room and know another firefighter, right? You just got to look. It's not just the mustache, which, mine's pretty good. But, what a firefighter looks like.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
And most of the time, we're swapping stories about jobs.
Sure.
Right? You can do that, too. I still go to fires, man. I
enjoy going to fires.
The minute I stop wanting to do that, I'll hang it up, But you can also tell this story. And like I said, I'm not a social media influencer. I'm not anything special, but I'm just a guy that has a very typical career path that you see a lot of folks, especially a lot of young chief officers and young company officers, seeing themselves go down the same career path. Like, I'm going to make a difference in this job.
Yes.
Hide and white.
Right.
You go sit over there in a corner, and by the time I'm fire chief, that everything will be fixed. The reality of the thing is, you really want to fix this, be the change you want to see. And I'm just in a unique place where I can do it.
But you had quite the experience to get you there, because before this, you probably weren't advocating for any of this because you're hiding it every day.
Right.
Right. And so what I look at is the challenge. I love what you said. I wrote it down, circled it. I'm going to underline it, and probably be the title of this podcast is Recover Loudly. We need champions for change.
Right. And it's not like we've got peer groups, if we see critical incidents, and we send those guys, and I've never been that guy. I'm honestly, that's not my skill set.
I get it. I totally get that.
But now I kind of am. Like, now I just, my focus shifted a little bit. And if I can help one other person do this, that's enough. Sure, we want to help hundreds because we know that this is an epidemic in the fire service, because the fire service is a microcosm of society.
Yeah.
And the reality it is, how we know people have addiction issues or mental health issues is probably because they're in part of a disciplinary process, right?
Yeah, they've already gone too far, right?
They're in this process now.
They're in turmoil.
Did you hear about Jimmy?
Right.
Yeah, Jimmy's back on admin duty.
Yep.
Because, he got pinched the other night. He got arrested, he got a DUI, or he did this, or, he's, got a public intox. And those are the ones we see. And what's important as leaders in the fire service is building an environment that your firefighters and officers are comfortable enough coming to you and saying, boss, I got a problem. And if we don't do that, you know, if we build an environment where they're hiding things from you,
right,
that's not leadership.
No.
The minute these firefighters stop bringing us their problems is the minute we've stopped leading them. That's it. That is his, you know what? And that's not my quote. That's Colin Powell. I read that in this book called Colin Powell's Primer for Leadership. And, you know, everything in my life, it feels like, this is what gets weird and a little bit trippy. You know, like, if you believe in what the universe or God wants you to do, everything in my life was designed for this. Every one of my challenges, all the training I went through, even the executive fire officer program, like everything was designed for this. No, I'm not going to be the fire chief of Tulsa unless, you know, something really weird happens, like the bomb goes off and I'm the last one they got.
Right.
And still, I'd probably just retire, to be honest with you, because I mean, that's a lot of stress. That's not something I want. What I want is to be a good district chief, and I want to help people in the fire service understand that you're not abnormal if you're struggling with this. You're not weak. You're just human, just like me, just like everybody else.
Purpose.
Yeah. And so everything I went through in the last 26 years has focused me towards this, including the military. So
it's all part of your story.
Yeah.
It makes you who you are.
Yeah, and this is
You mentioned 4 times today, Chief. 4 times you mentioned universe.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a universe guy before all of this happened?
I can promise you this. Anybody that goes to this Ibogaine treatment does not come away not spiritual.
Yep.
And believing
that's where I was headed with this question. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spirituality is in having faith.
Mm-hmm.
I have found at 48, be 49 next month.
Oh, we're the same age.
I've come to realize that faith is becoming much more front and center in my life than it has been in a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think that can be what you want it to be. But I think having faith and finding purpose and looking for fulfillment, those are the things for me that have made me better every single day. Mm-hmm. And I haven't had the spiritual journey you have had to find, you know, and I haven't
highly recommend
had to come. Right, I mean, yeah, for sure, right? I mean, for sure. But I that's why, you know, having you here today, and I started off this episode, you know, an hour ago was, you know, usually I don't, you know, people reach out, I don't invite them in, but I'm so intrigued by your story. And I'm so grateful that you have found this journey for yourself and that you're here today, because I truly do believe you have the ability to make an impact and make a difference.
I do too.
And I think this episode, with you being so candid and honest and sharing some of your insights and thoughts and things that you've gone through, I think people are going to get a lot out of this.
I hope so. I believe there will. And here's the deal. Like, we talked a little bit about, nobody ever told us that drinking, you know, measuring your weekends in 30 packs is a problem. My dad did 34 years on this job, on our job, and he didn't purposefully, like, exclude me from explaining feelings.
Right.
Our own egos did that.
100%.
Right? Like, Dad never said, hey, don't talk about your feelings, son. Quite the opposite. You know, my dad's a very spiritual man and was a great chief officer. He really was. He was a district chief, too. But, like, our own egos, our own desire to prove our worth to the others around us, our brothers and sisters on those trucks, is so powerful that it causes us to be self-destructive.
Yes. And
then in reality, one of the really smart things my dad did say, he said, at the end of the day, bud, we're all just average firemen. You know, there's only one way to pull ceiling. There's not a fancy way. You know, fire goes up, get in the attic, boy. That's where it goes. And that's
sound advice. He knows what he's talking about.
And I'm finding myself at, you know, the fourth quarter of my career thinking, crap, fire it does go up.
Yep.
You know, it is that simple, right? It's just like, hey, man, be a cool human. And that was not me, man, for the longest time. I was so focused on rank and, making an impact that I lost that piece of they have to watch you do it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I so much appreciate the platform. And
my brother, I am honored to have you here, and thank you for sharing a little bit of your story.
Yeah.
Because I think that it certainly has the ability to educate and motivate. And maybe motivation is one of those things that if somebody hung on and listened to this episode and you're having some of the same thoughts or feelings, or you find yourself relating to this story, there's opportunities out there for you. There's things that we can help you with. There's things that are available to you, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're not alone. You're not alone. And you said yourself, I was on an island, right?
Yeah, and it was so hard to. That's the other thing is you're always on an island. You can't count on your crew to always have the life net underneath.
That's right.
And the hardest thing to do is to ask for help.
Yes.
That's it. It's and I think it shows a lot of bravery for people that actually do.
I would agree.
I'd a lot rather be talking about how to command department fires.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of our jam in District 2. So but honestly, I think this is what makes more impact. Because there's only a couple ways to put fire out. You squirt water at fire, bud.
Fire burns up.
Yeah, goes
Pull
up.
the ceiling one way.
Get in the attic.
Goes up. Get in the attic. I love that.
Hurry up.
Good. Nate, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Nate Morgans, thank you for joining me in the studio. What an incredible story.
Thank you so much.
I'm
really
so happy
appreciate it.
for you, and you seem to be in a really good place, and that fuels me to want to be better myself, man.
Well, good.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Let me sign off real quick. Guys, thanks for tuning in to the National Fire Radio podcast. District Chief Nate Morgans out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. What an incredible story today. And I challenge everyone at the end of every single episode, take this conversation, take it back to the firehouse and talk about it. Because when we're talking about the job, we're making the job better. I truly, truly believe that. And after today's episode, I'm doubling down on that. Go back and talk about this episode and get somebody to listen to it. Anyway, we'll see you at the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Jeremy, National Fire Radio. Done.
Awesome.
That was really good, dude. I hope so. Guys, thanks for tuning in for the National Fire Radio podcast. Like I say at the end of every single episode, take this conversation, take it back to the firehouse, and talk about it, because when we're talking about the job, we're making the job better. We'll see you at the next one. Jeremy, National Fire Radio.
National Fire Radio.